stupid little things makes me in turn never want to judge anyone, because it's like I know what it feels like. Even if it's kind of true, it's like you don't know where this person's coming from, or everybody's suffering from something, you know. So.
And you don't know what they're going through in their life too, because sometimes people will be having a really rough day and just put up a really crappy video and they don't tell you about it, so little leeway is good.
I think the biggest thing I've pulled from it is, I think over these years it's actually made me more of an open person. I think without YouTube, without being connected, it's so easy to get stuck in this echo chamber of ideas where you're just like, yeah, everyone thinks that. But because we have access to the rest of the world, I'm like, oh no, actually, if anything, on this specific thing, I'm a minority, okay, over here, like, people have a slightly different opinion and here's why. So I think it's definitely, because early days, if someone had a different opinion than me, it was like, kill it with fire. Now it's like, okay, let's have a conversation and then maybe kill it with fire, or maybe not.
So let's look at the, sort of, take a step back and look at the big picture of YouTube and web video and the ecosystem in general. What do you guys consider some of the most important developments in the last 10 years? Whether they've affected you or the community as a whole?
Faster internet is helping.
Yeah. Why do you say that?
Just live streaming is really becoming a thing now. Just the way that, you know, VR 360 are going to really change things. It's going to get, the next 3 to 5 years, I think we're in this, you know, elbow of this exponential growth, and it's going to get crazy.
Yeah, I would just say video quality. I mean, it's 2K, 4K, it's gonna be like 200K before you know it. Like, people are just uploading higher quality.
Like, where do you go from there? How does it get better? It's just like,
It will,
The
though.
first videos I was uploading to YouTube were like 15 megabytes. Yeah, maybe 6, like tiny files. And now like it's easy to forget that when we started making YouTube videos, like smartphones weren't a thing. And now the majority, like a lot of, not a majority, you might know, of YouTube traffic is mobile, and a lot of people who are watching our videos don't even have computers. This is their only device, and this is how they consume content. And that's opened it up to so many more people who can be a part of these audiences and also part of the creative community. That just, when we started, those people didn't even have access to the tools. So that's like exciting and fantastic as well.
Yeah, the barrier to entry, both on a creator standpoint and the viewer standpoint. I mean, cell phones specifically. I shoot with a nice camera, that's been like a slow evolution, but I mean, some of my favorite vloggers like Tom Syndicate does everything on his phone, right? It's like, thanks to the YouTube Capture app and one device, as long as he has a signal or he can steal some Wi-Fi, he can get out there and he can watch and he can talk to people. And that's the biggest thing. I think that's why we're seeing so much growth.
So I would say we're defined by our tools, and the tools are getting so much more readily available. Like the 12-year-old kid in his room with Final Cut Pro is far advanced to the professional movie maker of 1980 or 1990, where it's like these kids can do the stuff that, you know, Hollywood was paying millions of dollars to do. So it's like, what's going to happen because of that? Just all content in general will go up, you know, quality-wise, visually, the whole experience is just going to get better.
I think one of the fantastic examples of like, you don't need the best stuff. I mean, one of the biggest tubers this past year, Grade A Underrated, edits in Windows Movie Maker. That is mind-boggling.
My Movie 06, baby. I used that forever.
Yeah, that's what I started with when I was uploading in 320 by 240 videos. And the fact that someone can still do that and surpass all these other new guys, for me, that's exciting. Because content is king, which is really, when it comes to YouTube or online entertainment, I want that to be true. That is just good content, that's what thrives.
There's no gatekeepers. Everybody has access to the same tools. You know, it's the democratization of entertainment and communication.
From a more social and community perspective, do you feel like there have been any turning point moments in YouTube history?
Yeah, I think as like Twitter became more established and Instagram, like we're using a lot of other platforms to push our YouTube channel. Before it would just be MySpace and like our email blast, and that's how we got our videos out there. It wasn't that people could go, they just have to go to your YouTube channels. Now we have so many ways to notify people that we have new content.
Yeah, I think that the platform diversification that's a fancy thing they're saying on the third floor, where like a creator is on Snapchat, Tumblr, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, YouNow, Twitch, Or you get to pick what of those things work best for you as a creator, and what are the interesting bits of the audiences on those platforms and the tools that those platforms give you. That's a big difference now versus like you just had this one place, and then it got very crowded in that one place, and it was very hard to get noticed. But maybe if you're over on something new, it's an easier place to find an audience.
Do you feel like there are eras of YouTube? Like there are just delineated or very loosely delineated time periods in this 10-year window?
I mean, like since we've done VidCon, I think a lot about what the new things that are happening. But even back, I remember I would just tweet out occasionally what's a new YouTube video that you're really into? And I've always felt like there are these little moments, and they all blend together, and they all sort of hit. But there's pretty fine-grained things if you really pay attention. You shouldn't. It's not that interesting. But I remember when Mika Kitty and Mitchell Davis were suddenly I was like, what's happening here? This is a new thing. And it was very new style of content, but still in the old forms. But new people and new audiences were finding it. But that was now, from my perspective now, obviously that was just part of the first wave of vloggers. But to me, it seemed like a whole new exciting thing was happening then. But yeah, there are definitely eras, but they are very hard to sort of, there's no sharp delineations.
But I feel like YouTube changed drastically early on. Because the whole entire homepage would change. Remember, we used to curate videos. You could email the YouTube editor and be like, please feature my video, and that made you a star, remember? And then they switched to Cosmic Panda, and that was a huge change. And then they switched, remember? That was a big drama. And then they switched out of that, and then it's been kind of pretty much the same since. We've had the same kind of streamlined playlist. We didn't have this. We had boxes where you curate 6 videos that were your videos and 6 that were your favorites, remember? And one video.
Yes, because I remember going and doing that, taking the time to put all those, because you want your most recent watch, the video that you made to the end of there.
Or your most popular and your most recent one. And then you would feature your friends' videos in the bottom 6 thing. That was the popularity
You
contest.
used to be able to put other people, feature other people's videos on your channel.
Yeah.
People would trade and be like, oh, I'll put your video on my channel, Lisa Nova, if you put mine on yours.
It was a huge thing when they came with the other channels, so you could put each other's channels in it. Because it meant, depending on who your friend was, that you'd get subscribers. Because they subscribe to you, they subscribe to all the other channels. That was great.
That was bad news. That was bad for YouTube.
So this is my favorite thing about being on YouTube for 10 years. Is just this community of people that have been doing this hustle for so long. And there's people at VidCon that should be on this panel that aren't. Michael Buckley, Mystery Guitar Man, all of these horror YouTubers that I feel we all came up with. The biggest thing that's an honor to me is just being associated with these people. Having these people that are so, admired and just well-kept people. Look how groomed he is. Friends with these people is the best thing about being on YouTube for 10 years. How is the...
YouTube has changed how well-groomed I am. How well-groomed
He uses deodorant, he smells delicious and smart.
How has, out from outside your community and your fans, how has the perception of what you do changed over those 10 years?
When I used to tell people that I did YouTube, they'd be like, oh, okay. Or my acting friends, and they were like, I stopped going to traditional auditions. I was just I'm just gonna throw myself into YouTube, and they're like, cool. Then 2 years later, hey, you wanna go to lunch? Tell me about this. Or you would go to the gas station, and people would ask you, what do you do? Because people talk at gas stations. And I would be like, oh, I make videos on YouTube. They're like, oh, okay. Now, if you go anywhere, people are like, how many subscribers do you have? What kind of content do you make? Everyone understands it.
Yeah, I'm so pumped anytime I have an interview and the interview does not start. So you can make money on YouTube? I'm as that question has gone down and how often it happens, I'm like, okay, our space has made it. We're good, we're solid.
Let's talk about your sort of perspective on the careers that you've had so far and how you've been able to make it happen. You have not just been making videos for a long time, you've built these very sustainable creative enterprises. You have all kinds of different work that comes out, but is continually building audiences, which is something that some of your colleagues in the early days of YouTube, that didn't happen to them necessarily. Is there a secret to sustainability and having a long career in the web video space?
I think having the right mix of obsessions. Like you gotta be obsessed with making good content, but also with developing an audience, and also maybe with like analytics, and also maybe with like
Entrepreneurship is huge.
building your own business, and also like gaming the YouTube algorithm, which we've all done. Let's be honest.
I was like the first 7 years of my career was just thumbnails, clickbait, that's it. And then slowly I was like, and less, but still some.
Which I never really had a problem with, because it's like, if the content's good, like, it's like, oh, this gets me to click on it, but like, this guy has some good stuff to say. I'm gonna subscribe, even though I clicked to see that girl with big boobs, I'm gonna subscribe to this guy.
But all three of you guys have created basically companies. Like I'm kind of the one-woman band. I have like assistants sometimes, but you guys all have clothing companies and
Well, but
other things.
everybody who's doing this professionally has to like figure out how to make their finances work. And that like, that's not what I signed up for.
I feel like,
You more than me, because I have people who can code for me now, which is great.
What?
Maybe you have to deal with finances more than I do, because I pay people to do my taxes. Thank
But
God.
I've been blessed to do a lot of stuff like off YouTube with brands, like a lot of posting things, so I'm not like as reliant on YouTube. But I think the thing for me with sustainability is just about quality. Like if I take the money that I make from outside jobs and then I'll make like a really cool music video and I'll do something like an unpopular song, and then that always gets hits because I put my heart into it and I put my money into it. So if you put your money into videos, then it's good quality and it's shareable and people want to see it and share it with their friends.
YouTube was the entrepreneurship for me. I always wanted to start my own business. Like I hated working for somebody else. I hated that somebody could tell me when and where I had to be, or if I couldn't hang out with my family. So when I saw YouTube, I was like, I'm already kind of like a class clown. So being able to like build my own business that I have say over was so appealing to me. So I think a lot of YouTubers are more than just creators. They're entrepreneurs. I mean, they're editing, they're producing. You have to do a lot more things than just be on camera.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of you guys have launched lots of new channels and that are very different from what you do. Do you think about how do I make this something that's going to last for a long time when you create something new? Is that a part of the process?
And for me personally, I think it's always, I mean, especially being on the site so often, so many people we came up with and so many people that came up after, I mean, they're just not here. And so I think the smart thing, once you're getting established, is build something as yourself. Something that if all of a sudden you suck, there's this thing that doesn't suck and is still successful, and you can still make money, still have a life, still be happy however you're gonna be happy. That's me.
I think there's also an element of like being very satisfied with success on this platform rather than wanting it to be a path to something else. And if that's what you're looking for, then you're always going to be a little dissatisfied or a little like even ashamed of your YouTube success. And I've seen people feel that way where they're like, I don't like yeah, I'm popular on YouTube, but it's just YouTube. And if you're thinking that way, then you're not going to have staying power on YouTube. You have to like believe that this is actually the cool, special place to be. And the people who didn't, who were trying to make it into something else, they maybe went away.
That's a great point, because the people that are still on YouTube 10 years later are people who want to be here, people who find it very valuable. And that was always the question I got asked when we first started getting a lot of subscribers is, when are you going to get a TV show? You're like, when are you going to parlay this YouTube success into some real success and have a TV show? I was like, I don't want a TV show. I want to be a pioneer of something brand new. Like, we got a cool thing here. And it's like, who cares what they have? Like, we have some real communication. There's a community here. There's awesome people here. And I think those are the people who have thrived, and the people who just enjoy being part of this and, trying to make it better.
And there's nothing wrong with doing TV. There's been YouTubers that do
Yes,
it.
there is. If you're on TV, you're a bad person. Everybody knows that.
You hear that, Homer?
Keep it
Or he's
fun.
like, I would like to be cast in a TV.
No, but I have a point. I'm basically saying like those people that just throw their effort into that, and then when the TV show fails, like they sometimes stop doing YouTube. But the thing is, like if you are really into YouTube and you love it, it doesn't matter what happens outside of that.
Well, and it's hard to do a YouTube show and a TV show at the same time. And I like people have figured out that if they're going to try something new, they can't stop doing the thing that they're doing. But
take some of the questions that people have been using the hashtag. It's decade on YT. If you have any additional ones. Do you guys ever feel pressure to fit trends or come up with something that's very new, very relevant in any given moment?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of like I recently made a roast yourself challenge, and something like I really some people liked, and there were a few comments that were like, I can't believe you just hopped onto the bandwagon, and I was like, well, I didn't do this because I was hopping on. I did it because I thought it was a funny idea, and I was like, oh, that's a good idea. Thank you for the idea, Ryan Amiga. I will do that, and that's great. And also thank you, Ryan Amiga, for not being like, I'm going to do this and it's a funny thing, but also I'm going to do this and I would invite other people and not tell them that it was my idea and you can't have it.
I miss those days. I remember there was like a Miley Cyrus is Dead trend where everybody made a Miley Cyrus is Dead video. It's like, it's fun, or like the ice bucket challenge.
It wasn't very fun for Miley.
Right? But it's fun to see how different creators take the same concept and adapt it to their creative, personality. I love that, with those different things. So that's a community. That's why I miss video responses.
Yeah.
That's when it's fun. We're communicating with these shows that we're doing.
But there is sometimes pressure because sometimes the people that you want to collab with just want to do a challenge video, and you're like, I don't want to do the challenge video.
I'm not going to eat those shrimp. I'm not going to eat those shrimp.
How many chicken nuggets do I have to eat to be in your video?
I think that we do get pressure sometimes if you want to do a video with someone and they have an hour and you only can do so much in an hour.
I think it's just smart to look at what's out there. I don't necessarily feel the pressure, but I'm constantly the idea of jumping on a bandwagon. It's more inspired to be a part of something, to do something. I mean, I recently saw, I guess you could call it a trend or something on YouTube, and there were things I liked about it, things I disliked about it, and so I incorporated my show and tried to evolve. And 10 years in, out of nowhere, I have my best 2 months ever. Where all of a sudden it's I get this growth of 500,000 new people that watch every day. And I think that's important, is as long as you're looking at the trends and seeing how you naturally can fit into it without being super, super fake or pandering, I think that's important. It's less feeling pressure and more otherwise you go crazy.
This is a good question. Do you have a favorite video? Is it possible to have a favorite video after making something?
Oh, of my own?
Of your own?
Oh, no.
None?
I thought you meant of YouTube.
No, yeah. Well, we can talk about that, but I'm curious of your own stuff. Do you have a favorite thing?
I do. I just uploaded a music video of Peter Hollins. Check it out. It's live. Go nuts for that.
Video's going on right now.
It's my favorite video.
Rude tweets.
Go check it out at youtube.com/SXEFilm.
Yeah, SXE Phil.
All right, well, let me rephrase the question then. Is there a video that you feel in retrospect was one of the most meaningful videos that you created to you personally?
Yeah, I did a Miley Cyrus parody to Party in the USA, and it was when I found out that my dad had cancer, and I kind of wanted to do something that wasn't about me. So I wasn't even make myself a star, but I got some friends, and I was like, I kind of want to say whatever space you are in your life, that everything's going to be okay. And I think that's been one of our best videos because it wasn't about me, it was about the message. I didn't even care. I gave the song out for free. It was just something that I wanted to do that was just meant something to my heart.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I don't think it's any specific video. I think it's anytime I have to, unfortunately, anytime I have to cover something horrible that happened, and it's not because it happened, it's just that I'm trying to process the thing that happened. And I know that by talking about it and trying to break it down and talk to all the other people, that especially if it's something that pertains to our community, to help someone wrap their head around it, I feel like I'm helping in this little way just with words, and hopefully it has a real impact. So anytime there's a negative thing, I can try and help.
Yeah, I have a video that's not even on Vlogbrothers because it's very long and it's just talking about dealing with chronic illness and my path to getting used to that as part of my life. And I get emails and tweets 4 years later about that video all the time. People who are like, this, thank you. And I know that it's not going to be helpful to 100% of people who are going through their bodies betraying them, but that it's helpful to anybody who's going through that is that feels real good. Thanks. It's nice to have a positive thing come out of your body betraying you as well.
How is it watching this new generation try to give advice, or just step back and let things happen?
Yeah, well, we should all just stop making videos so that the next generation can leave a hole for interesting things. We have our giant sequoia must fall and leave a hole in the canopy of the forest of YouTube.
Never. My children will hold my legacy strong.
I think it's cool. Like people that are, 18 years old are using more advanced editing software than me. So I think they've grown up watching YouTube and they're on it. Like I'm inspired by them all the time.
It is very back and forth. Sometimes you get burned out making videos. On days that I do not feel like editing, I'll just go hit my subscription. I'll go watch a Wheezy Waiter video. I'll go watch a vlog or a Red Link or whatever. It's that's cool. I want to make something cool like that. Then all of a sudden I'm motivated to edit it. So watching YouTube is just as part of being a creator as creating YouTube videos because you're inspired by other creators for sure.
Yeah, I just feel YouTube now is to me, it's open to a lot more, a lot broader audience, which means that there's going to be stuff on it that's very much not for me, but also more stuff that's designed for a 36-year-old man, which hasn't traditionally been a bunch of stuff on YouTube for me, which is great now that there is some of that stuff and I get to watch it and be like, you watch the same shows as me when we were kids, that's funny. Good reference, I get it.
Do you feel like your audiences have changed over this time?
Interesting is to look at analytics on Google because traditionally the biggest demographic is the 13 to 18-year-old female, and that was always our biggest demographic. And I have seen, because we've been on YouTube for a decade, name of the panel, that entire demographic has shifted. And now our demographic is the 18, it's 10 years older. So you can see this big section of people that are going through the timeline as they get older. And then they're just all about to get out of college and get jobs. And that's why I'm going to have a lot of merchandise ready for them when they get jobs. Have jobs and credit cards.
I don't have any time to watch your videos though.
Yeah, it'll be a work on it.
It's interesting because in one way your audience hasn't changed, but in another very important, more important way, they have changed. They're different people now, even though they're literal same people. And that has changed how we make our videos because now we have an older audience because they got older, and we want to make and also we got older, so we're a little less feeling falling out of our chairs and pratfalls than we once, because now we might hurt ourselves. So watching that is wonderful, and also it's inspiring to refine and reform how we're making stuff.
Yeah, it's weird to meet somebody at these meet and greets who started watching us in middle school and now they're graduating from college. And it's that's awesome. And they're doctors and lawyers. And I was smart people watch our videos? I even told them it was because they watched our videos and they became doctors and lawyers. So then I wanted 10% of their future.
Should take it. Phil, do you feel like your audience has shifted?
They've definitely grown up with me as well. I feel like the biggest changes is just where a lot of the demos go, where the viewers go. I have an audience that's grown up with me, but I have a completely much older audience on Facebook since I started focusing there. We talked about the fact that there's so many options. I think that's key because I 100% see myself as a YouTuber, but as you grow, you have to be in everywhere everyone can poster. A good example, YouTube recently added stuff to the terms of service. That's scary, but it's not that powerful as long as you're really smart and you make sure you're everywhere. So, to appease your younger demo, make sure you're on Snapchat, YouNow, other places, older, Facebook, and 80 other things I'm gonna miss out on, and then find out that Musical.ly is a thing this year. And be like, oh, 13-year-olds are famous. Cool, good to know. So you just have to keep putting yourself out and navigate properly because everyone wants to escape, everyone wants to be a part of something. They just do it in different places.
Do you guys have any words of wisdom for someone who's trying to come into this space right now?
I think there's no stupid ideas, and I think that's what's worked for me is I thought something was funny and I just went and made a video, and now I think it's kind of stupid. But it got me going. I didn't censor myself and I didn't judge myself, I just did it. And I was willing to fail and be bad and learn. So just be bold.
I would also say be bold, but also be careful. Because I got to grow up in a place where people did, it's within reason.
I always say if I had to start over again today and everybody forgot who I was and I still retained all the information I had gained from doing this, I would not be able to recreate the amount of success that we've had. Simply because I was lucky to be ahead of the curve. I still feel that even VidCon year 7, you guys are ahead of the curve in a sense, because this industry is only gonna get bigger and bigger. Like, you know, year 1, like yesterday down in the convention hall, I saw a YouTube employee with a little thing walking around like brand people, like big brand people, like they were at Disneyland. He was like, and that guy has 2 million subscribers, and it's like, people are really taking notice. So if you feel like you want to do this, there's still potential to do it. You don't have to feel like, well, it's too late for me, because all of a sudden we'll be at VidCon 12, and they'll be like, I wish I would have started. So anything that you're like, I want to do that, you just got to jump in today, not tomorrow.
Yeah, and I think that part of it is like understanding the tools you have at your disposal, and understanding like what, first doing it, because you're not going to be good at it first. Because none of us we were just lucky that people didn't have a lot to choose from back then. So you're not going to be super great at first, but then as you develop and understand like what is the thing that people are going to be excited about, or how am I going to get people to look at my stuff in a world where there is an infinite amount of stuff. And there are always ways, and they always surprise me when someone figures one out, and it happens all the time. And then I'm like, what a genius idea! Good job, that guy.
But I think it's also too getting rid of the excuses, because I think with me, like I found on my laptop, I'm wandering around. Like if you want to do this, like finances, I was broke. I would eat the same thing every single day from Trader Joe's, like a buy a wig. When there's a will, there's a way.
You gotta make stuff. You gotta make videos. Like, didn't you guys make like 100 videos before you even had 100 subscribers?
Yeah, I mean, when Deathly Hallows happened, which is when we got featured on the front page, we had like 200, was that you? We had like 200 subscribers. And that was like July. That was the 7th month of us doing it.
You gotta just start making stuff. I hate when I get tweets like, hey, will you give me a shout out? I'm gonna go buy a camera tomorrow. I'm like, no. Make a video. Like, you gotta start creating things, you know?
Okay, last question. I want us to pretend it's 10 years from now. Okay? We're at VidCon. We're on this stage. It's much bigger. There's way more people here. What does this conversation look like? What are the things that we're talking about?
I'd be like, dude, raise your hand if you love teleportation. So cool, I got here in 0.3 seconds.
I mean, everything's going to go to virtual reality. I don't know if you've seen the goggles. Like, it makes me
My conference is over. They're just going to virtual.
We won't even need to come here anymore.
They're going to be wearing their things in their houses. They can smell however they want.
I love that question though, because you think about time travel and you think about like, how can I help myself? So if you think, what would 36-year-old Shay tell 26-year-old Shay, like 10 years ago Shay? I probably might tell myself not to worry so much, not to stress out so much. So then in changing that, it's like, what is 10 years from now probably going to tell me? And it's probably going to be like, just enjoy things. Everything's going to be okay. You know, like I think that's what we all suffer from, is this self-inflicted worry where it's like, what if, or remember when, or bad, or like, that's kind of how we're programmed, this self-defense mechanism. And I think 10-year smarter us would be like, it's gonna be okay.
Man, we were so stressed out. Remember when I was on the stage and I said that everybody was going to come in VR and it was going to destroy the entire conference business? But it turns out people like to be in the same physical space as one another. I shouldn't have worried so much.
There you go.
What about as far as video and YouTube? How do you feel?
There's still going to be the same practices. We're being consistent, like uploading good quality content, being true to yourself, like, playing on some of the trends, like getting inspired by your peers. It's still going to be the same things, just different tools and different ways of making video.
I think it's going to look a lot like other media, where, like in music you have Taylor Swift and Beyonce and The Weeknd like sitting up on the top there, and then below that there's all sorts of interesting weird stuff happening in all these different genres, and there's just dozens of genres, and if you have like Spotify, you can pick whatever thing you want to listen to, and there's interesting things happening in all those places, and sometimes they're going to pop to the top and be amazing and huge, but like I think that like always the most interesting stuff is going to be the things that are happening, that aren't getting on the cover at the top, and then there will be the interesting stuff at the bottom. Not that Taylor Swift and Beyonce and The Weeknd aren't interesting. They are. I'm huge fans of all those people.
I would say the biggest thing for us now, for the people back in the day, is everything is going to always change, and you can fight it, but a lot of the people that fought it aren't here. You can try and embrace it fully, and then just get swallowed up. It's really ride the wave and try and make it your own. That's the only way you live on for another day.
I think that's a great point to end this on. I want to thank all you guys. It's been a real pleasure to have this conversation.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you